Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this from. I want you to give me the next few minutes of your full attention, because what you're about to hear could change how you walk, how you feel, and how independent you stay for the rest of your life. Here's something most doctors won't say plainly in a rushed appointment. Your legs are not weakening simply because you're getting older. They're weakening because nobody ever told you what to actually feed them. Getting older is a fact. Weak legs are a consequence, and consequences can be reversed when you know what's driving them. I'm Dr. Andrews. I've spent over 25 years in family and internal medicine with a strong focus on geriatric and preventive care for adults over 60. I've sat across the table from thousands of patients in exactly this stage of life. And I started this channel because so much of what I'd tell a patient privately, the things that never fit into a rushed 15-minute visit, deserved a wider audience. Today I'm giving you 7 specific foods ranked from helpful to genuinely transformative that can rebuild the strength in your legs, restore muscle tissue, and hand you back the stability and confidence you thought time had taken from you. And I'll tell you now, the food sitting at number 1 is something many of you already have in your kitchen, something you may have spent years being told to avoid. Once you hear why it made the top of this list, you won't look at it the same way again. Before we get into it, I want to ask you something simple. Drop a comment below and tell me how old you are and whether your legs have started feeling weaker, heavier, or less steady than they used to. Maybe stairs take more effort. Maybe you've had a close call getting up from a chair. I read every comment, and your story might be exactly what helps someone else watching find this video at the right moment. Now, let's begin. We're counting down from 7 to 1. Coming in at number 7, eggs. I know the reputation eggs have carried for decades. Bad for cholesterol, bad for the heart, best avoided. I want to be direct with you. For adults over 60 specifically, that advice did real harm, and the science has moved on considerably since then. Here's why eggs matter for aging legs. They're one of the most complete sources of leucine, an amino acid that works like a key turning the ignition on muscle protein synthesis, the process your body uses to actually build and repair muscle. After 65, your body becomes what researchers call anabolically resistant. Your muscles stop responding efficiently to ordinary protein intake. They need a stronger signal to get the same result. Leucine provides exactly that stronger signal, and 2 whole eggs deliver enough to meaningfully wake up that process, even in a body that's become resistant to it. There's more in the yolk than people realize: choline and vitamin D, which help keep the membranes of your muscle cells intact. As we age, those membranes get more fragile, less able to hold on to the nutrients muscle needs to contract and recover properly. Throwing away the yolk is a bit like buying a car and leaving the engine at the dealership. My patient Patricia, 72, came to me after a fall in her kitchen left her shaken and afraid of her own staircase. She'd avoided eggs for over a decade on the advice of an old low-fat diet plan. We added 2 to 3 whole eggs to her mornings. Within about 2 months, she told me she'd walked up her stairs without gripping the railing for the first time in years. To be clear, I'm not telling you to eat eggs at every meal or that they're a cure-all. I'm saying that for most adults over 60, the blanket fear around eggs has gone too far, and a moderate daily amount is very likely doing your legs more good than harm. A simple action step: 2 to 3 whole eggs in the morning, gently cooked, ideally with a small amount of healthy fat like olive oil or avocado to help absorb those fat-soluble nutrients. Number 6 on the list, wild-caught salmon. If your legs feel heavy, ache when you wake up, or cramp in the middle of the night, there's a good chance low-grade inflammation is quietly working against your muscle tissue while you sleep. Salmon is one of the most effective tools we have against exactly that. The active players here are EPA and DHA, 2 omega-3 fatty acids. Think of chronic inflammation in aging muscle like a slow-burning fire. It doesn't flare up dramatically, it just smolders for years, gradually damaging muscle fibers, connective tissue, and the nerve pathways that carry signals from your brain to your legs. Omega-3s act like the response team that puts that fire out. Research has consistently linked regular omega-3 intake in older adults to measurably reduced inflammatory markers and improved muscle protein synthesis, compared to those who rarely eat fatty fish. Salmon also happens to be one of the few good dietary sources of vitamin D3, and after 70, your skin becomes far less efficient at producing vitamin D on its own. Low vitamin D in seniors is strongly associated with muscle weakness, poor balance, and a higher risk of sarcopenia, the medical term for age-related muscle loss. A single serving of wild salmon can meaningfully move you toward your daily vitamin D target in one sitting. I do want to add a caveat. Wild caught matters here, not farmed. Farmed salmon has a very different fat profile and doesn't deliver the same anti-inflammatory punch. Action step. Aim for wild-caught salmon 2 to 3 times a week, paired with a handful of leafy greens for added benefit. Number 5. Spinach and other dark leafy greens. Picture every older adult you've seen who still moves well, who stands up from a chair without pushing off the armrests, who walks without shuffling. There's a strong chance leafy greens were a quiet, regular part of their diet. And here's the biology behind why. After about 75, your body becomes noticeably less efficient at recycling nitric oxide, a molecule that essentially directs blood flow into your leg muscles. When that traffic control system weakens, the small blood vessels feeding your quadriceps and calves become congested, nutrients struggle to get in, waste struggles to get out, and the muscle fatigues faster and recovers slower. Spinach, kale, and Swiss chard are rich in dietary nitrates, which your body converts back into nitric oxide. You're essentially using food to restore a system aging has started to dismantle. Spinach is also one of the best dietary sources of magnesium, a mineral involved in muscle relaxation. Night cramps, calves seizing up, toes curling involuntarily, that's very often a magnesium signal, and a large share of adults over 60 run chronically low. My patient Frank, 70, described his legs as feeling filled with concrete most mornings. Supplements alone hadn't moved the needle much for him. We added 2 cups of sautéed spinach daily, cooked in olive oil with garlic. Within about 6 weeks, he told me the heaviness was gone, and he'd started walking his old neighborhood route again, just for the joy of it. I'll add the balancing point here too. This isn't about replacing a medical workup if cramping is severe or persistent. It's one piece of a bigger picture. Action step. A cup or 2 of cooked leafy greens daily, always with a bit of quality fat to help your body absorb the fat-soluble nutrients inside them. Number 4. Walnuts. These get overlooked constantly, mostly because people file them under snack rather than medicine. Walnuts are one of the only plant foods that deliver a meaningful dose of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 that supports the same anti-inflammatory pathways as fish oil, alongside vitamin E, which helps protect aging muscle cell membranes from oxidative stress. Think of oxidative stress like rust slowly forming on metal. It's not dramatic day to day, but over years it weakens the structure. Vitamin E acts like a protective coating, slowing that rust down. For adults managing joint discomfort alongside leg weakness, walnuts offer a gentler, food-based way to support that same anti-inflammatory goal without relying solely on medication. To be fair and balanced, walnuts are calorie-dense, so this isn't an eat-the-whole-bag food. A small handful, around a quarter cup, a few times a week is the sweet spot. Sprinkle them over yogurt or salad rather than eating them straight from the bag if portion control is a concern for you. That brings us to the halfway point of this list, and I want to pause for just a second. If something in the last few minutes has already shifted how you think about your own legs, hit that like button. It tells YouTube to put this in front of more people exactly your age who need to hear it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. Every week, this channel brings you practical, evidence-grounded health information built specifically for adults who want to stay strong and independent on their own terms. 3 foods left, and the one I promised you at the very start is still coming. Number 3, Greek yogurt. Most people think of yogurt as a diet food, something light you eat when you're being careful. That undersells it badly for this purpose. A cup of plain, full-fat Greek yogurt delivers around 17 to 20 grams of high-quality protein, including leucine again, along with isoleucine and valine, 3 amino acids that get absorbed into muscle tissue efficiently and directly. But the part that matters most for aging legs isn't just the protein, It's the live probiotic cultures. Researchers now talk about something called the gut-muscle axis, a growing body of evidence linking a healthy, diverse gut microbiome to greater lean muscle mass and faster recovery after activity in older adults. After 65, gut diversity naturally declines, and that decline appears to affect how well your body can actually use the protein you're eating. Probiotic-rich foods help restore some of that diversity. Think of it as restocking a library that's slowly been losing its books. The fuller the library, the more your body has to work with. A practical note: timing helps here. Eating your yogurt within 30 to 45 minutes of any physical activity, even a short walk, lines up with your body's natural window for absorbing protein most efficiently. And always choose plain, full-fat versions. Low-fat varieties typically replace that fat with added sugar, which works against the anti-inflammatory goal we're going for here. Number 2, beets. I know this one gets a mixed reaction. Some of you are nodding, some of you are skeptical, and that's fair, because beets aren't usually the first thing that comes to mind when you think about leg strength. But sports medicine researchers have taken beet-derived compounds seriously enough to build them into athletic recovery protocols, and the same mechanism applies just as powerfully to an aging body. Beets are exceptionally rich in dietary nitrates, even more concentrated than leafy greens, which convert into nitric oxide and open up blood flow into working muscle tissue. The effect isn't just local either. Some research has linked beet intake before activity to improved blood flow in brain regions tied to motor control, meaning beets may help not just the muscle itself, but your brain's ability to coordinate it, which matters enormously for balance and fall prevention. Beets also contain betaine, a compound that helps regulate homocysteine levels in the blood. Elevated homocysteine, common in adults over 60, has been associated with faster muscle loss and impaired mitochondrial function, your muscle cells' energy generators. When those generators are damaged, your muscles run like an engine on a failing battery. I want to be balanced here too. Beets aren't a substitute for movement. They work best paired with activity, not instead of it. Action step: 2 roasted beets a few times a week, roasted rather than boiled, since boiling leaches out the water-soluble nitrates you actually want to keep. And now, number 1, the food I mentioned at the very start: extra virgin olive oil. I know some of you expected a protein or something more exotic. Stay with me because this one genuinely surprised me too when I first went deep into the research. Extra virgin olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal, a natural plant polyphenol that works in your body in a way remarkably similar to ibuprofen, without the gastric and kidney risks that come with long-term anti-inflammatory medication use. For seniors who are often on multiple medications already, that distinction matters. But the benefit goes beyond inflammation. Olive oil's polyphenols appear to support what's called mTOR signaling in muscle cells, essentially the master switch that triggers muscle protein synthesis, the same switch leucine and exercise activate. After 70, your body's sensitivity to that switch naturally declines, meaning your muscles become harder to build even with good effort. Olive oil appears to help partially restore that sensitivity, almost like recalibrating a thermostat that's been set too low for years. There's also a protective effect at the mitochondrial level, helping shield muscle cells from the kind of oxidative damage that accumulates with age. Damage that, left unchecked, leaves muscle cells producing less energy and recovering more slowly over time. My patient Richard, 82, a retired engineer, came to me unable to walk more than 2 blocks without stopping. He'd eaten a very low-fat diet for 30 years, based on guidelines from decades ago. We introduced about 4 tablespoons of high-quality extra virgin olive oil into his daily routine, over eggs in the morning, over vegetables at lunch, and changed nothing else for the first month. By 6 weeks, he was walking 4 blocks without stopping. By 6 months, he completed a 2-mile charity walk and sent me a photo from the finish line. It's still on my office wall. A quick balancing note. This isn't permission to eat unlimited fat. 4 tablespoons a day, used as your main cooking and finishing oil, is the target, not an upper limit to exceed. And buy quality. Look for dark glass bottles and a harvest date, not just an expiration date, since polyphenol content fades with time and light exposure. These 7 foods work best as a system, not in isolation. Eggs, salmon, and spinach all contain fat-soluble nutrients that olive oil helps your body absorb more efficiently. So combining them isn't just convenient, it's biologically synergistic. Now, before we go, because I genuinely care about you watching this, a few things are worth flagging clearly. If you're experiencing sudden leg weakness, numbness, swelling in one leg only, chest pain, confusion, or a fall that resulted in injury, please don't wait and don't try to manage that with diet alone. See a doctor or seek emergency care right away. Food can support your body's natural ability to rebuild, but it can't replace urgent medical evaluation when something is acutely wrong. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only, based on real research and real clinical experience, but I'm not your doctor, and this isn't personal medical advice. Your situation is unique, so please don't change any medication, diet, or health routine without talking to your own physician first. That conversation matters more than this video ever could. You deserve to move through your own life with strength and confidence, not as a passenger watching from the sidelines. That's not encouragement. It's a clinical fact that muscle tissue retains real capacity to rebuild well into your 80s and beyond. Your body is waiting for the raw materials. Starting with your next meal, you can give them to it. If this helped you see your legs a little differently today, hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's video, and share this with someone you love who's navigating this same stage of life: a spouse, a sibling, a parent. And tell me in the comments, which of these 7 foods are you adding first? I read every single one. Until next time, eat well, move daily, and remember, your best years aren't behind you. They're still waiting for you to claim them.